Right.
I've got that down, so.
Okay, perfect.
We'll
Thank
give
you.
you an update on the pool and some of the other summer programs towards the end of the meeting, if that's all right, Caitlin.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
Just to let
Certainly.
everyone know, I've resumed recording and we are now live on Facebook.
Okay, I saw that come up. Thanks, Lindsay.
Yep.
We got everybody. Where's Matt? Matt on yet?
Don't see him.
I'm here.
You're here. Okay, you
Ah,
must be
that's
the,
Got everybody. He must be off my screen. I'll have to figure out how to change it around so I can see more people. How's your flag, Carol?
where's my flag?
Yeah, how's your flag?
It'll be all right.
Okay.
Do you have flag issues too?
What?
No, that was just you, bro. I wanted to bring 2 forklifts out and put you at the top of a ladder, but you wouldn't do it.
I think they'd frown on that. How's Fuller Hall, Larry?
You're
muted.
muted,
You're
Larry.
muted, Larry.
Okay, how's that?
Good.
Yeah, we just closed up. We had 17 people today.
I heard a lot of compliments about it.
Yeah, yep, it worked out pretty good to get going again.
Good. Okay.
My computer says 6 o'clock, John.
Yep. Okay. I'll call the June 1st, 2020 City Council meeting to order. Due to the COVID-19 concerns, the council is holding an electronic meeting utilizing Zoom. Iowa Code Section 21.8 outlines the guidelines to hold an electronic meeting when there are valid concerns that an in-person meeting is impossible or impractical. Due to COVID-19 concerns, the social distancing recommendations and electronic meeting is being offered. Council members will be utilizing Zoom to attend the meeting from their homes. Minimal staff will be at the City Hall. You can join the meeting using the Zoom website, or a meeting ID is 847-5637-7803, and the password is 824990. You can dial in by your location. I guess our one is 312-626-6799. You can find it. You'll also be live streamed on Facebook, and it will be on the what is it? Yep, Facebook, and it'll be on the Zoom, of course. Okay, I will call. Guess we'll call for a motion.
We need
We want
to do
roll call. Need a roll
Yep.
call first. Sorry. Yep.
Hartman,
Here.
Hawkins,
Here.
McKinney,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Welch.
Here.
Call for motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Miller.
Okay. Roll call. Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Welch.
Yes.
Hey, Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's see here. You can do
Pledge
this.
of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag
of
The United
United
States
States of America
and
and
to the republic
Republic
for
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Section is A, petitions, communications, and requests. This is the time of the meeting that a citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. Except in case of emergency, the city council will not take any action at this meeting, but may ask city staff to research the matter or have the matter placed on the agenda for a future meeting. Anyone have anything do we have anybody out in the, outside of our meeting? Anything? Jeff, did you want to mention anything about the city? Well, I guess City Hall's open by appointment this week. I don't
That's
know
correct.
much else.
We've
The
got
hall is open for the weight room, and
for all hours for adults only, and Larry's got that taken care of. City Hall by appointment only, and the entire staff is back working, but still in segregated teams. So, so far, so good.
okay. So B, minutes and claims. The following items have been deemed uncontroversial routine actions to be approved by the council on a single motion. If a council member or the member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from its list, it will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. I have item 1, minutes of May 18. Item 2 is a resolution on payroll, period ending May 23 and paid on May 29th, 2020. And item 3 is a resolution on bills and the fund list.
I move to approve collectively.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call. Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Hartman.
Yes.
Okay, C, general agenda. What time we got? 6:04. Maybe I should have taken a little longer. Item 2 is a recommended approval issuance of a beer and liquor licenses by the Iowa Department of Commerce for the following: renewal of a Class C liquor license and Sunday sales for Lamita Mexican Restaurant at 500 2nd Street.
Move to approve. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble by a lot of people.
Yeah. Do we have a second?
Second.
Caitlin?
Okay, roll call. McKinney,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes. Okay. Item 1, public hearing on a purchase agreement for city-owned property located on East Dubuque Street in Webster City, Iowa. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
I have received no written objections.
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections presented.
I'll close the hearing. Carla, did you want to talk on that at all?
You're muted, Carla.
There,
There.
Evening,
Sorry.
Carla.
sorry, hi. This is the public hearing for the 207 East Dubuque Street that we have talked about in the past. It's the parcel that we tore down a home back in 2019. And we have a bid, and it was received from John Harper at $3,750. So this is basically the public hearing where you will approve the quitclaim deed to him. And anything, once we transfer it into his name, any taxes that will be transpired will be an asset to us. Probably won't be much until he builds on it, but nonetheless takes it out of the city's responsibility, and the sale of the property will go into our general fund.
Okay. Well, it's a good, we got one pulled down and we got it sold, so
Mhm.
it's better than still owning it. So,
The next highest bid was $1,100 less than his bid.
okay, that's good. Anyone have any questions for Carla? Thanks, Carla.
You bet.
A call for motion on a resolution approving purchase agreement and authorizing execution of a quitclaim deed conveying city-owned property on East Dubuque Street in Webster City to John Harper.
So moved. I'll second. This is Logan.
Okay, roll call. Miller,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Item 3 on the agenda is a appointment of one member to the Park and Rec Advisory Commission for the 4-year term beginning June 1st, 2020, ending May 31st, 2024. The current member reapplied, Chris Kehoe, so I don't know. Do you want to talk about any of it before we go through all these, Carol, or is everybody happy with what we've got there?
The only update I have is I did contact Doug Getter, had applied for city planning and zoning. I approached him about maybe serving on zoning board of adjustment because we did not receive any applications for that board. And I heard back from him this morning that he would be willing to serve on that board. So we can do that appointment at the next meeting and have that position filled. And then I wasn't quite sure. We had a couple applications for the Senior Center Advisory Board. I just didn't know where council was going with that for sure. I had one of the applicants ask me what they did, and I didn't really have a good answer for her because I don't think they've met over the last year or two.
I don't think they've met since I've been on council, but it doesn't. I guess if you've got someone to fill them and keep the board, then we can keep it going.
We would still, I think we would still have one vacancy. I think we had, and Harlan Balsley had also applied for that. With he's on traffic committee, there's no reason why he can't do both. I mean, there's, so we can do those appointments next time too. If
What did you think, Larry? I mean, you're the guy that spends more of the time with that than anybody. So, the board hasn't met in years, but I guess if they're there, we would, at least we've got them there to reach out to.
Yeah, I mean, if something came up or something we could meet or, I think that'd be a good idea.
okay.
All right. Everybody happy with that?
And then youth advisory, right now we just have the one applicant. We still have 5 vacancies. I don't know if you just want to table that till fall when school starts up and see if we can get some interest at that time. Logan, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to wrangle them anyway right now, let alone, with what we got dealing with. But I would rather just wait till fall. There's really no project they can really help with over the summer anyway. So I'd be fine just kind of letting it float till fall.
Okay.
I guess if something came up that we thought we needed them, I guess we could reach out to the ones we have, and that might get someone more excited about it. So
Yeah.
So never
The
know.
last thing they were helping with was the Frisbee golf thing. I get asked about that all the time. Is there any status on that?
Well, what they were helping with was the layout, but I don't know if we're ready to move forward on that. I mean, maybe that's a better question for Larry. The back 9 Frisbee golf course, what's the timeline for that?
I haven't heard anything on the timeline either on that.
Because it kind of went into limbo when Kent passed.
Right.
And the Youth Advisory Commission was helping with the layout, and they're going to bring in a couple of the Frisbee golf advocates in the community to kind of help them plan the layout with your help. So I don't really know where we're at on that, but if you guys do pick that up again, that project, just let us know and we'd be happy to help.
Okay, let me suggest Larry and I'll look into that and have a report by the next meeting, get you up to speed.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jeff.
with or without youth advisory, I've had a bunch of people ask me if that road's going to be a part of it, yada, yada, yada. So I just would like something to be done or some status I can give them.
Sure.
This is Brian Lesher. I had to check with the DNR to make sure that we could go into the prairie because they actually gave us money to do that prairie. So I wanted to check with them, and they actually just got back to me this spring that we can go ahead and implement the Frisbee golf within the prairie. So we should be good to go to do that this summer, hopefully.
Great.
Get the installation going. So that was the only holdup that Kent passed, and then I was waiting to hear back from the DNR. So.
Cool.
All right. We'll come back to you at the next meeting with more concrete steps to get that project moving forward.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brianne.
All right. So we've got a motion to have Chris Kehoe be on the Park and Rec board for another 4 years. So
We need
get a
someone to make a
So
motion.
moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
All right, item 4 is appointment of 2 members to the City Planning and Zoning Commission for 4-year terms beginning June 1st of 2020 and ending May 31st of 2024. Current members that reapplied were Lynn Jaycox and Sabrina Wolford. So I guess we would just be reappointing those 2. So unless someone has any other ideas, but we just need a motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Welch.
Yes.
Item 5 on the agenda is appointment of 2 members to the Wilson Brewer Historic Park Committee for 4-year terms beginning June 1st, 2020 and ending May 31st of 2024. We have current members that reapplied, Gary Groves and Lindsay McCormick Welch. So, another motion.
So moved.
We have a second.
A second.
Okay, roll call. Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Hartman.
Yes.
Item 6 is an appointment of 1 member to the Traffic Study Committee for 4-year term beginning June 1st of 2020 and ending May 31st of 2024. Current member reapplied is Alan Borsley.
Motion. So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. McKinney,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes.
We still do have another position vacancy on that for an unexpired term. So if you know of anybody who would like to fulfill, I think there's 3 years left on it. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Item 7 is a first reading of a proposed ordinance, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Webster City, Iowa, 2019 by amending it Chapter 42 pertaining to streets, sidewalks, and other public places. Carla, were you on this one?
Yes. This is strictly more or less a house cleaning item. We address encroachment policy in the code in one place, and then we have it mentioned in another area, and we need the 2 to say the same thing. So all this is doing is incorporating that they need to file for an encroachment permit to match what our policy is saying. In the new ordinance says that they must file for an encroachment permit with the Public Works Director or his assignee, and it has been Corey. So we're matching the 2 areas in our code.
Okay, makes sense. So we'll call for a motion.
So moved. This is Logan.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Miller,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Item 8 is a resolution accepting work authorizing final payment of $798 and release of retainage of $7,751.86 in 30 days to Progressive Structures in Alcada, Iowa, for completion of the 2019 Millard's Lane box culvert or box replacement project. Box culvert replacement. Ken, I guess it's all, you're happy with the final solution there?
You're muted, Ken. There you go.
Yes. I think we need to, they finally completed everything on the punch list. So we need to close this item up and move on. Looks good. It needed to be replaced.
Okay. So we'll call for motion for the final payment. Payments.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Brian?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Roll call, Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Item 9 on the agenda is a resolution in support of a workforce housing tax credit benefit application to be submitted to the Iowa Economic Development Authority by Spring Lake Construction for a housing project located in the Links Development in Webster City, Iowa. Carla, this one's over to you again.
Okay. This is very similar to what we've done in the past. The Spring Lake has already had 2 resolutions approved by the city council, one for the 32 independent living units that are proposed for out there, and the other one is the 30-unit apartment building. We did those both in 2017 and then 2019. This one is addressing lots 18 through 34 on the south side of the apartment building, which would be on what they're calling J. Brady Court. We haven't accepted dedication yet from those streets yet, but they are, I sent you a packet of the style of the apartments that they're putting up, the condos that they are putting up out there. And they are applying for these workforce development housing tax credits, which is no strings attached with the city other than getting our commitment in the project. And what we've done in the past is $1,000 per unit, but what we're already doing for them with TIF, that will be put towards this commitment, the TIF rebates, which will more than enough cover what we are committed to in this resolution.
Yeah.
So it's no extra money or anything. It's what we've already have a development agreement with them on. But this, they will turn this resolution over to the Iowa Workforce Credit Program to verify that we are in support of it.
This is the same company that was looking at the old hospital site last time, Carla?
No. This is out on Edgewood Drive.
Yeah, I know it's at Edgewood Drive, but is it the same
Oh,
company?
it's the same program.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a couple going, but this, yeah.
That's why I thought it was, because they're similar looking houses and everything, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Anyone else have any questions for Carla? Thanks, Carla.
You bet.
Shall we call for a motion to support the workforce housing tax credit?
So moved.
Or the application for it?
Second.
Okay, roll call, Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Welch.
Yes.
Okay, item 10 is a request from the line department supervisor to purchase material to update the lighting LED to LED on First Street between Seneca and Prospect Streets. Did you want to talk on this one, Ken? Or?
I can. If anyone has a question, I'd be more than happy to try to address it. It will obviously go from Seneca Street to Prospect Street on First Street. 12 poles.
Okay. Well, it's just more of the work. It's got to be done, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on it? So we'll call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
A roll call. Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Hartman.
Yes.
Okay. Item 11 is resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a master agreement for professional services with DGR Engineering for an electric utility power supply cost and rate work study and task order amendment number 1. So, Jeff?
Sure. This is the agreement with the consultant that was recommended by Mr. Maloney. We put together the tasks. We divided into 3 pieces. This would be the next logical step moving forward in our evaluation of the electric utility. Be happy to answer any questions if anyone has.
Did they say how long they think it might take to do their study, Jeff?
I would expect it'll be done before the end of the year.
Okay. I guess they've got a lot to do, so, yeah.
Certainly, we want to move it as quickly as we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Anyone have any questions?
So is this for like the utility, checking into the utilities?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Caitlin?
Is this checking into the utility issues that Lori from Seneca Foundry had spoken with us
Yeah.
about? Okay,
Yes, it's all of those and much more.
okay, just making sure.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so we call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. McKinney,
Yes.
Miller, Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins.
Yes. Item D is reports and recommendations of officers, boards, and commissions. The following items have been deemed non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or a member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from its list, it will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. I have item 1 as a motion to accept and place on file April financial report, banks reconciliation report, public funds checking account, public funds sweep account, public funds USDA revolving loan account, the receipts, and a summary of investments. Item 2 is a motion to accept and place on file the in tandem report on city social media and website accounts. Call for motion.
So moved.
So item 1 and 2.
Yeah, collectively.
Thank you.
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, a roll call. Miller,
Yes.
Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes.
Caitlin, thanks for the music.
So item 3. So it's over to you, Jeff, for a update on the banners and other things that you've got.
Thank you, Mayor. The city has received all the brackets, and so we're ready to install those. We've been in contact with the liaison with the school on the banners. We expect those to be delivered any day soon. It's my understanding that the school has scheduled a graduation ceremony sometime the end of this month with a backup date should the pandemic affect it sometime later in July. It's my understanding that weather permitting, we'll have all the banners up probably within a week or 2 of receiving them, or well in time for the graduation ceremony. We've not decided how long we will leave them up. I think that's an issue we'll have to consider. Obviously, they'll come down at some point, but we think with the investment, it's a great way to honor the graduating class of 2020. Are there any questions about the banners?
Jeff, do you know, will every senior have a banner? I mean,
I believe that was the intent. When I talked to Ms. Whitmore last, I believe there were 4 or 5 seniors that had not submitted the picture. And so the school was tracking down pictures to try to make sure that they had a banner for every student.
okay.
Anything else? All right. Next, you had in your packet the recommendation on the continuing to reopen for the parks. Staff would like to add this additional recommendation that we would announce that the summer activities that includes the youth baseball and softball, adult co-ed softball, and the adult sand volleyball leagues would be canceled. We just don't know of a safe way to conduct those. I did ask Larry to give me some idea of the number of folks that would impact. The youth ball, normally it's approximately 50 boys and 50 girls. The adult co-ed softball is approximately 80 people, and the adult sand volleyball is approximately 60 people in the past. And so with the council's permission, we'll make that announcement tomorrow. Any questions or concerns about that?
Doesn't sound like it.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't sound like you got any concerns on it. So.
All right, and we have continued to work on how we're going to handle the pool. Staff is committed to having a recommendation by this Friday. We're trying to wait to the last possible moment to see if it can be done. I think I shared this perhaps earlier, but the latest data that I have, there were approximately 50 communities that had gone on a listserv that Carol from the clerks. And of those 50 communities, 20 have already decided that their pools will not open at all this year. 10 have decided they will, and 19 are still undecided whether or not they will open for any portion of the season. We'll continue to track that. One concern that was brought up is should we decide to open, we're going to need additional staffing, and we're just very concerned about being able to do it safely. So we will get you a recommendation on Friday, and then have some discussion about moving forward as far as the pool. Are there any questions about the pool?
Jeff, there was an updated spreadsheet today, and now I think there's 44 pools that are not going to open.
Okay, thank you.
About 22 that are, and 19 or 20 that are still undecided. So.
Okay, so it's about half, definitely not going to a smaller portion saying yes, and then still several that are like us trying to decide if it's possible.
And I think some of the reasons weren't necessarily all COVID-19 related, but they're not getting lifeguards because the kids are finding other job opportunities, not knowing if the pools are going to be open or not. So.
That was what I saw on the mayor's link too, was that a lot of the places are having trouble getting staff. So have you had staff reach out to you at all, Larry?
Yeah, we have probably, 36 available, 36 to 40 lifeguards that have applied.
Oh, great.
So we haven't got that problem. Yeah.
But we're still okay here, and I'm getting a lot of texts from them wanting to know or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Isn't it still only open for lap swimming and
lessons?
Yeah.
Right, and a limited number, and the outdoor pool is not nearly as well set up for the lap swimming as is the indoor pool. So there are a lot of challenges. We're going to look at it every which way we can to see if it can be done safely. But we'll be back to you Friday or Monday at the latest. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Last, I got a request from the Church of Christ to extend the street closure for the month of June. They've limited it to the half a block that's between the church and the building that used to be the Sonic Lodge, now called the Bridge. What they're doing is having services outdoors. They set up tables 6 feet apart to do social distancing and have a modified service. I think it's much safer. So with council's permission, we'll continue to close that half a block for approximately 2 hours from 10 a.m. to noon on Sundays through the month of June.
I have no issue with it.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with it, Jeff. So.
Me either.
Fine with me.
We will do that. Thank you very much. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, Caitlin, you had a couple of things that you wanted to bring up, or just the one on the one-way streets, was it, or?
Yeah, that, and just I wanted to make sure we really talked about the pool, because I've had a bunch of people asking me about if the pool's going to open and stuff like that. But I just had a person come up to me and just say, you know, I noticed with the stop signs and stuff being put in, I just was thinking about it and didn't really understand why in our city we have one-way streets. Because as you guys know, we've got Bank, part of Division, and First that are the big ones. But they didn't really go into too much detail. They just felt it wasn't necessary for a town of our size to be for one-way streets. And I was just seeing, you know, what people's thoughts are on this, and, you know, if that would even be a possibility to change it, if that was something people thought was necessary. I don't know.
That's an interesting question, because that's one of the things I've noticed coming to the community. One-way streets were very prominent 20 or 30 years ago, but very few communities have maintained them today. Just not modern street engineering, but I certainly would not be the one to try to change it if that's what the community is comfortable with.
I guess we could reach out and ask people what they, you know, if you only had the one person ask you about it, Caitlin?
It was in a group, so I mean, there was a few people who, and one brought it up, and the others were like, "Oh yeah, I guess I didn't think about that." Yeah, I could see, you know, why we wouldn't need them. So
yeah,
I've had a lot of people bring it up to me over the years, but not in a way they wanted to fix it. They just thought it was an oddity.
I mean, it would change. I would assume we'd have some problems with parking and whatever in some of those streets, wouldn't we, Ken?
Yeah, you would have.
Some of those streets would have quite narrowed for us to put two ways on them, and then you'd have to ban parking altogether in those streets, which those people who live on them might, as much as they might like to live on a two-way street, may not like not being able to park in front of their houses. But
The other thing is getting emergency equipment down that street.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess, Jeff, you know, I don't know. I guess we could at least, you know, look into it a little bit and see whether there's any reasons, or, you know,
would that be something we would take to like the traffic committee and see what their thoughts are?
Very definitely, we would take it to them.
Have them see if it's even feasible. I know we'd lose a lot of parking for the people that live along those that don't have alleys. I don't know which ones don't.
Right, that's what I was going to ask next is, do we have alley access on all of them?
No.
I know we don't on all of them, but I don't know which ones.
Yeah.
I will send it to the Traffic Commission for their consideration.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Anything else?
Yeah, sounds like one.
I have a quick question. Caitlin, do you think the person that you talked to would like email something or put something in writing just requesting that they consider doing away with the streets? It's always okay. It's kind of better if we have something in writing for them to consider and base.
Yeah, and they were going to. I just said, well, let me start by asking if that's something we can even pursue. So yeah, I'll get a hold of them and see what they can get for you.
Okay, perfect.
Give my email address and have them send it to me if you would.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, so are we going to be live? Are we going to be meeting in City Hall next meeting?
Yes.
That was the plan.
That was the plan we had.
I've got my tape measure out as we speak.
Just to be clear,
council chambers.
My understanding is that we would meet the entire council live, but it wasn't clear that I didn't think we'd have City Hall open by that time, that we would still not have the public necessarily in attendance. Is that what the council intended?
Well, at the time, I was probably thinking that City Hall would have been open by then, but but I don't know. I guess that's, you know, what are the other fellow, what do
We
you?
don't, legally, we have to leave it open to the public, don't we?
No,
As long as you provide the access, if we could still have Zoom access or a call-in meeting.
Or Facebook Live.
right,
So
um,
the first 9 people or the first 4 people can sit in live?
I think that's what you decide. If you're gonna have you definitely would have a limit of how many you could get in here by the time you get council and Zach and I and Jeff.
But is the 10 number, you know, we still got to be under 10 in city chambers?
it'll be close.
No, but have we got to be 10 or less? Because, you know, you can be in restaurants and be in as long as you're 6 foot apart, you can have more than 10 people in a room.
Yeah, would it be half capacity?
That's what I thought it would have to have capacity,
That definitely, yes. You definitely have to be half capacity.
but we wouldn't necessarily have to, we could do that, I would guess, because I expect at that point the city hall was still open by appointment only, whether or not you wanted the public at half capacity to attend, or that this was, again, the transition. You would meet live, at least for one meeting, before proceeding to opening it up to the public.
Mm.
What's your?
So why is it, I guess, why is it that we don't want City Hall to open up? What is the main problem with it?
I think safety for the staff
So
and the public.
but we
None
should,
of the public come in to the staff's areas.
Sorry,
None
well,
of the
can't
public
get-
has access to the staff areas.
there's still close enough interaction with some of the staff. I guess the staff is taking the position that there's no compelling reason to move to that at this point. No one has indicated a problem with gaining city services under the current setup.
I apologize. This is Logan. Somehow my app dropped out and I just got back on. So if I reiterate something that's already been said, I apologize. But yeah, I don't see, you know, the necessity of opening up City Hall per se. You know, because again, it's traffic that has to be, like, the hallway sanitized, the bathrooms and stuff like that, with random people coming and going. And be honest, you know, a little bit of a hybrid of a digital interface and remote, you know, access is kind of going to be the way moving forward anyway. So, you know, I don't really necessarily see it an urgency to open it up full-fledged. I don't mind meeting in person later this month, but you know, as long as there's not a huge uproar by the community members wanting to physically be in attendance, which I think we all know we're lucky to get a handful anyway. I say we just keep it streamed until we get an all clear.
I would say a lot of the people that do turn up to the meetings are actually in the high risk category anyway.
Right.
So they probably shouldn't be turning up.
Once I get the council chambers kind of mapped out, I'll send you all an email of how many we could have in here from the public and see what your thoughts are.
Other cities are also using alternative sites. We don't have to use council chamber. They're using the fire department where the trucks are kept in the bay. They're using their gym. There's other places you can have it too where you have more space.
Oh yeah, good point. You know, we could use like Premsa High Auditorium or something and space this out on the stage, and then everyone can sit 2 rows apart.
Exactly.
I guess I don't know what we're gonna have to adapt in some way, and I don't know what till we get the all clear means. Like, we give ourselves the all clear at this point, as long as we're within regulations.
Well, I guess my question is since we're kind of keen on looking at what other cities do, are the other ones opening? Are they doing part virtual? What are other people doing?
It varies. A lot of cities never went virtual. They've left it open to where maybe 1 or 2 council members will be at the meeting and the other 3 would call in or join by Zoom. It just varies from place to place.
And are you speaking like immediately around us, like Clarion, Eagle Grove, Stratford, all of that?
I know, Zach, what is Clarion doing?
Yeah, so all my cities are around here. They're all, some have continued to meet. Some have limited it to 10 people only in the chambers. Some have gone, like I said, they're holding it in their fire department or ambulance bay so they can split them up because it's just a large pole barn essentially. Like I said, they're all over. And then obviously Webster, we're still doing Zoom. So there's not a good answer.
Mm-mm.
The one thing I see, and I don't know, I mean, it's with whether we open, you know, if we can potentially run City Hall without having it open, then do we need to employ as many people as we do there to run City Hall? I guess it's, you know, obviously we have people that are working there that are getting paid to meet customers, but the customers aren't coming. So that's something that's not really been talked about yet.
I'm assuming, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of, you know, the staff are working remotely and handling, you know, reporting and other issues via their computer. But I get what you're saying, you know, like John, like, you know, we don't have that many people coming in or needing to come in now. Do we need that many people, you know, interacting with the public? But I think that may be because, you know, people are not, you know, they're finding other ways to pay bills and get messages through to us and to our staff and administration.
Well, it's definitely a course that's good. I mean, it's a positive way to move because we were getting probably way too many people had to come in and pay cash.
I would suggest this is the first day where we've started taking appointments. Let us see how that works for a couple of 3 weeks before we make any change.
Yeah.
See if there's a problem with the appointments or if there's some obstacles we haven't anticipated. But certainly by the 15th, we'll have some idea of how that's working and whether it makes sense to continue it or modify it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I guess when you said cleaning, Logan, you know, it isn't like when they come to the hospital, we wash behind each of them. I mean, it gets cleaned at the end of the day or during the day. I just don't see how this is any different.
I think you'll find a variation of that though, Brian, where some of the businesses are taking a heightened sense of walking around and cleaning fixtures, cleaning doorknobs, even if it isn't a medical facility.
Yeah, and again, I don't see the need to open up. I mean, if it's a symbolic thing, and if it's a morale thing, great. But I don't think city staff are in any rush to open up, and it's their safety we really, you know, are jeopardizing. So again, I would leave this up to Jeff. If you feel well, obviously our direction, but if you feel the work is getting done, employees are feeling safe and being productive, I would like to just see it as it is.
I believe that to be the case. If the councilman is aware of a deficiency or something to the exception of that, I'd certainly like to know it. I think the staff has done a wonderful job. We have several that are working from home and getting the job done. Is it more efficient when we're all in the same building? It certainly is. But by the same token, I've had no one call and be upset about losing out on a city service because of the current operation. Now we're all back in the building. We're taking appointments again starting today. We all along wanted to do a slow, methodical reopening. So I'd like to test this for a couple of weeks and see how it works. And at the 15th, give you an update.
Did you have anybody need an appointment today, Jeff?
I'm not aware of any, but it was a really busy day. So
that may be an indication of how many people actually need to come there. So.
Could be, but
I mean, it is the first day, but
it is the first day. Carol, I wasn't aware of on the utility side. Did we have any citizens come in or want to make an appointment?
No. We've had some calls asking if we're open to the public yet so they can drop a payment off. And we just say, you know, we have not opened to the public, but there's several ways you can pay your bill and then give them those options. And there hasn't been any kickback from that. I mean, I don't think it's warranted somebody not paying their bill because they couldn't come inside. And we have, you know, a couple people needed a rebate form, having trouble printing it off, and we'll meet them at the door if they absolutely need that, or I've notarized a couple papers for people. So I think the services are all still being provided. I have not heard of any major.
I think staff has done an admirable job of being flexible and finding ways to make it work.
Okay. Well, I'd say that at this stage, it sounds like we'll, you know, those that want to meet in City Hall, I mean, by all means, this, council members do not have to come to the meeting. They don't have to be live if they don't wish to be. But we'll look at the council members and being in the chambers if you want on the next meeting, and but we won't be open to the public at this stage. We'll work that one out, you know, in the future. So.
And I'll work with Lindsay as far as what direction we need to go to keep it open to the public via Zoom or conference call, or what's the best avenue to go once we start meeting live again.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Zach, it's over to you for your report.
Nothing that exciting.
Oh.
Yeah, so nothing crazy this month. Elks Building, as you guys approved it last meeting, we worked, Lindsay and I and other Carol and other city staff worked with the architect and prepared all the necessary easements and agreements and all that jazz. They've already started work. I saw when I drove by, they were working on it, so that's exciting. Second Street issue, that private lead issue, Ken and Jeff and I have been working on that. In Doty, so far we haven't had anybody expressed. Still, I guess we've had some people express interest, but that have gone actually forward with wanting the city to do any sort of voluntary assessment. We have the forms needed to do so, and we can put those together, and we're still working on that for the future if need be. And then just preparing all the necessary paperwork for what Jeff was talking about with the electric utility, making sure all the NDAs look good, all the agreements with the consultant and all that stuff looks good for your guys' sake. A lot of agreements this month, so nothing too exciting.
Thanks, Zach. Hey, so how many lead lines have we seen so far, Ken? You know?
From my recollection, there's been about 6, but
okay.
That most of them have been resolved by themselves. They resolve them themselves, so
yeah,
that's.
I would assume most people wouldn't want lead pipes running into their house, but
well, not only that, they can't.
No, exactly, they can't. They can't anyway, but surely one would like to think that if you knew you had a lead line running to your house, you wouldn't be going, I don't want you to fix it.
Yeah, now that we...
I want you to fix it, I'm not paying for it, so yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least 6. How far up the street are they with the water side of it?
They're through the block at that Fairway's at, and they're moving up towards the next block. So they're part way up through the next block. So it's kind of, you know, it's slow. We had some rain last week, so it does go slow. They're putting the sanitary sewer in first, and then working on the water main. The water main goes slower because you've got to put in a section of water main, then you've got to test it for bacteria, and that takes a couple of tests, and consequently that takes time, and it also has to meet pressure tests, and then it needs to be wrapped. So there's a lot more involved with the water main than there is with the sanitary sewer.
Yeah. I see the size of that that collection point or whatever it is sitting there on Broadway. I think it is sitting in the corner there.
Yeah.
That's it shows you how big that section is under there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Well, I think they're getting along pretty good though. I mean, it's only June and you're almost halfway up there. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. They've got a lot of work yet to do. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I see the new shed arrived at the street department today.
Yep.
The building's there, but I guess you have to put the rest of it together now. But
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Anyone else have anything? I guess call for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Welch,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
you.
Thanks, Ken.
See ya.
Thank you.
Everybody.